Buongiorno from Certaldo, Italy. Brian and I are here to give you a little bit of a race recap from the weekend.
Ironman Italy, and Ironman Italy 70.3 2024. It was a rough weather week leading up to the race. Severe storms, winds, rain all week leading up to it. We got in town late Monday night and hoping to get acclimated, hoping to shake off some of the jet lag. Tested the water Thursday morning. It was finally let up enough. We put our feet in the water. Got about just past knee deep. Found it was frigid cold.
Yeah, so we had been following the Facebook groups before we left, and the water temperature was like 85 degrees, which is super hot. And nobody wants to swim in a wetsuit at 85 degrees. And in fact, you were at a disadvantage. You had to start after everybody else if you wanted to wear a wetsuit. So we chose to take our swim skins, which is just kind of a tight suit that goes over your swimsuit, but not a wetsuit for warmth. But so things flipped quite a bit on us by the time we got here.
Yeah, so Thursday we set off on an adventure to go find wetsuits, and not a lot to choose from in Cervia, Italy. It's a tiny little resort town that was off-peak season for sure. We were lucky enough to find a bike shop that happened to have a triathlete apparel and wetsuits. Pretty good variety, brands we never heard of, but a pair of scissors, able to adapt something to fit Mindy, and I found something long enough to fit me, and yeah, so Friday spent the day getting provisions together. Saturday morning, race day, 3,000 people in the full corral, ready to go at it. Took a little while to get everybody in, about 45 minutes, but the swim was pleasant. The sea had calmed enough, so super salty. I don't know about the natural floating, but the wetsuit, you couldn't really tell. But it was pleasant, enjoyable, well done, and yeah, I'd totally swim that again.
So the transition from the swim to the bike is the longest, right? Is what they said?
It's the longest linear transition in all of Ironman, from in to out of the bike. It's just all lined up. There's no giant circus change in town like we have in the States, but we got little tents, but it's vast. You almost can't see the end of it. It's so big.
Yeah, it was interesting. So it's quite a long transition to get from out of the water on the bike and off
out the other end of
out to the other end. So but the bike was pretty windy, I think, both days. Brian raced Saturday and I raced Sunday, and so quite a bit of headwind no matter which way you turn, which wasn't fun. We also rented bikes as opposed to bringing them. So typically, like Iceland, we flew out with our bikes, and we chose to rent them this time, which worked fine. Brought our own seat and pedals and Garmin mounts, and you know, it did fine for not having to worry about dragging a bike around the rest of our trip. So. But fun part of the bike ride is seeing some natural reserves of flamingos. So got to bike by those on both sides. Super cool. Had no idea they make a sound. If we find a recording, we'll play it through. But that was super cool, and a huge cat climb. I have to go back and see what it was. Look, it'll be like super small, right, in comparison. Now it feels like it was huge. But anyway, but fantastic views. You know, you get the best views from the top of a hill on any ride or race. We all know that, right? So, you know, mostly flat except for this big climb, and you could smell the wine going up the hill, and really wanted to stop, but obviously couldn't. Right?
Still got some work to do.
Work to do.
The couple historic towns we pedaled through were amazing. The views of the patchwork of the olive trees and vineyards. You know, we got patchwork back in the Midwest, but it's nothing like this. It's just different. It's pretty neat. So we biked back to transition, started out on the run. The run went through this historic old town. There's a canal and marina nearby, all lined with restaurants and cafes, and every cafe is also a bar. Every cafe.
It says bar. It's got coffee.
Yeah, you want a cappuccino, or do you want Aperol, or would you just like a gin and tonic? They have it all. It was pretty cool. You know, something we noticed too was definitely more water and coffee than soda. I mean, Coca-Cola and Sprite were minority in everywhere we've been in Italy, so it's kind of neat to see. But nonetheless, out on the run, the locals embraced the race, the athletes. all the visitors. I mean, they were fantastic, patient, welcoming, even with the language barriers. 60 countries represented. It's quite a melting pot in this little town, but it was very well done by the locals.
Yeah, and you know, I've never thought I'd like to hear my name pronounced Mendy as much as I did. I mean, like, I might go back to the States and start calling myself by that, because I mean, it's awesome. I mean, as many races that I've done in different states and different environments, this is by far the biggest spectator energy and vibe of a race I've ever seen. I mean, like Brian was saying, like the cobblestone and the restaurants, you run through there and people get up and they run alongside you and they're like, yeah, let's go, Mindy, let's go. You got the Irishman on the corner and he's like, oh, brilliant, you're absolutely smashing it, Mindy, good job. I mean, I wish I had these people around me every day. I don't know what to say.
The little kiss fest, day, bravo. Don't speak the language, can't read the signs. Yeah.
And they love the women. So every time a woman came around the corner, they were like, oh, yes, Bella, woo, you know, whatever, ladies, you know. Yeah. They get all excited and they see a female coming through on the bike or on the run. Which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. Definitely a race I'd highly recommend. I would come back and do this again. Maybe not next year, but would highly recommend.
Maybe. All right. Sounds good. We had a great time. We hope to see you all soon. Ciao.
Ciao. That was good.